Hello and welcome at Easy Swiss German. I'm Mel, your Swiss German and High German teacher, and today we're doing something a little different. We're going to talk about Telc A2. So what is Telc? Telc is an official examiner institution which grades you on A1, A2, B1, B1, B2, C1, C2. And it's official for like Switzerland and for Germany as well. It is a more formal exam, so some people struggle with it a little bit because it's like very academic and less intuitive. That's why it helps to have a few videos, so I can help you prep for that stuff. Today, we're going to look at the oral exam. Another day, I gladly make YouTube videos about everything else, like how to write the letter successfully, how to handle the listening, what are my tips and tricks to pass this exam. So as you can see, I wrote a booklet for conversation training on A2. It's also like with a little bit of focus on Telc A2. And we're going to cover part 1, 2, and 3, how to introduce yourself, how to ask questions in part 2, and how to make a Termin, a meeting in German. Okay. In part 1, you will have to introduce yourself and you're going to get exactly this overview that is supposed to help you. And then the examiner, she's going to make an example. For example, ich heiße Mel. Ich bin 33 Jahre alt. Ich komme aus der Schweiz. Ich wohne in Mexiko. Ich spreche Deutsch, Englisch, ein bisschen Spanisch, ein bisschen Indonesisch, ein bisschen Französisch. Mein Beruf ist Lehrerin. Meine Hobbys sind Lesen und Joggen. And then it's your turn. And it's not like on B2 and B1, it's going to become a ping pong kind of thing. One has to ask, the other one has to react, and it's supposed to be like as natural as possible. On A2, you just have to introduce yourself. So you can prep that beforehand. Like if you're not good at that, then you did something wrong. Also, when your job, for example, okay, first thing, if your job is very complicated to like find a German word for it, like Wissenschaftler, if you're a scientist, it's kind of hard to say. You can say any other job. They're not gonna like call someone and be like, hey, this person said in the exam that they are a Wissenschaftler or like a teacher or something. They're not gonna check up on that. Like you choose words that are like super easy for you to say. Same with hobbies. Like nobody's gonna double check if you're actually reading and running. Like nobody cares. Just say things that are helpful. And then in the exam, that's like one part of the part 1. And the other thing is they're gonna ask you to spell your name. Können Sie bitte Ihren Namen buchstabieren? And then you have to say, like for me, Melanie is Melanie. And then they're gonna ask you for your phone number. You don't have to have your phone number memorized. What they want to hear is just German numbers. So technically you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, that makes no sense. 9, 0. They don't care. They want to hear numbers. So like you don't have to, like a lot of people are like, oh, let me get my phone. It's like we don't care. We literally don't care if you know, we don't want to know your number. We want to hear Swiss, German numbers in general. Okay. Great. And then in part 2, you're gonna get a bunch of like inspiration questions with the V questions, and 2 of them with no help. They're trying to help you. The thing without the help, you get to ask double weak questions. But the idea is that you here have the option to ask something like a yes or no question. Haben Sie Kinder? Sind Sie verheiratet or something like that. So, in addition, you're going to get a topic. Here in an example exam, it is Tagesablauf. So like daily routines, those are a bit trickier than others. And we're going to look at what kind of topics are typical in a second. But so that's what you get. And then some places where you take your exam, they're gonna like cut it out and then like turn it around and make you choose, or like lay them on the table and like mix them, and then you have to choose one, or they're gonna give you one at random. Rarely you get to actually choose which one you want. Like they put it open on the table and then you get to choose one, but that's not the correct way to do it. So the idea is that you have to like spontaneously, with a little bit of help, have to produce a question. Okay. How do we do that? We do that with V questions, W-Fragen, or with Ja, Nein-Fragen. You should have learned that on A1. That shouldn't be a hard thing for you to do. So we have wie, was, wo, wann, warum, although you probably should avoid warum because the answer is pretty complicated, etc. Like there is a few of them. Wie lange, wie oft, etc. And then the structure of those questions are that like you start with the wie part, wie alt or wie, and then on position 2 follows the verb, like the traditional normal sentence structures of German. Wie heißt du? And then the rest. Wie alt bist du? And not wie bist alt du, for example. That would be wrong, even though like on A2 there is no grammar involved ever. As long as you're understandable, yay, it's right. So yeah, that's that. And then the answer, so that the actual what we're looking for in an exam is like, do you recognize, can you produce a question? Wie heißt du? And can the other person, or can you identify, oh, that's a V question, so I have to answer, ich heiße Melanie, ich bin 33 Jahre alt, and not just you say like, oh, ja, nein, that would be wrong, okay? Or if the question is, wie heißt du? And then the other person answers with, aus Mexico, like that, what? No, you have to answer. If you just say your name, Melanie, wie heißt du? Melanie. That's right, okay? So you don't have to produce full-on sentences, but your answer has to make sense according to the question. If you don't understand the question, you have to ask, wie bitte? Entschuldigung, ich verstehe nicht. Something like that. And preferably in German. If you say it in English, we don't like that. Okay, cool. Then another thing, your first question should be, sagen wir du oder sie? Because that's another thing that you're looking for. Are you staying within formal or are you staying in informal? There is no preference, there literally is no preference which one is better. Just you have to stay in one. You cannot jump back and forth in formal and informal. You cannot ask, wie heißt du? And then in the next question you go, haben Sie Kinder? You shall not do that. Okay? And then if they do it right, they give you one of those, and then they give you one of those open ones. Okay. As I said, in the open ones, if you want to do another we question, go ahead, have double we, whatever, W-Fragen. Go ahead, have fun. But it gives you the opportunity here to ask something like, hast du Kinder? Bist du verheiratet? And the positive thing about those, if your partner recognizes them, they can say yes or no, and that's the full-on answer, and you get a point for that. So du kannst sagen, hast du Kinder? Nein. Bist du verheiratet? Nein. Nein or ja is a full-on answer. You don't have to say, nein, ich habe keine Kinder. Like that's not necessary. That doesn't give you extra points. And actually, if you then say, nein, ich Kinder, then that makes no sense. So it might be safer to just say no. Okay, cool. The structure of your nine question is that you start with the verb. That's like one of the two cases in where the verb is on the first position. Here it indicates a question. The other one would be an imperative. Would you have known it? So on position 1 is the verb. Hast du Kinder? Sind sie verheiratet? Okay. Jo. Wonderful. That's that. And now we're coming to like what are typical topics are family. What can you ask? Well, Gefallen dir große Familienfeste? Wer ist dein Lieblingsverwandte oder deine Lieblingsperson? Hast du einen Bruder? Hast du eine Schwester? Wo wohnt deine Mutter? Woher kommt dein Vater? Family is like the easiest topic they can give you, in my opinion, because you can use all those in those things. You can use and you smack on a family member. Die Tante, der Onkel, it's super easy. Yeah, that's that. Then also in addition, if someone asks you like, wo wohnt deine Mutter? It's kind of complicated where you, or like, woher kommt dein Vater? Where does your father come from? And it's kind of complicated where your father comes from. Then just straight up lie. Mein Vater kommt aus Deutschland. No, that would be a bit weird. Mein Vater kommt aus Frankreich. My father is from France. They don't care. They like literally, if it's too complicated to be honest, and just like, use a word that is easy for you. Mein Vater kommt aus Kuba. Like something easy. Just make your life easier for the exam. Another topic is Wohnung. Options for questions will be, lebst du in einem Haus oder in einer Wohnung? Wie groß ist deine Wohnung? Wie viele Zimmer hast du? Welche Möbel möchtest du haben? Welches ist dein Lieblingszimmer? Wie sieht dein Traumhaus aus? Wie lange lebst du in der Schweiz oder in Deutschland? What else do we have? Wo ist deine Wohnung? Was kostet deine Wohnung? It's a bit rude, but and then the answer should be easy. Was kostet deine Wohnung? 1000 Franken. 1000 Euro. Who cares? Etc. Okay. Then the next topic is Tagesablauf, as we had now. These ones are a bit more tricky, especially like avoiding wann, because once wann is out, it's getting complicated. Wann stehst du auf? 8 Uhr. Wann frühstückst du? 9 Uhr. Wo kaufst du ein? Bei Migros, bei Coop. Was machst du am Sonntag? Ich schlafe. And that's the answer. Ich schlafe. Don't make it more complicated. Don't actually tell what you're doing on Sundays. Don't make it overly complicated. Just a simple question. Just a simple sentence. Wie lange lernst du Deutsch? Wo gehst du einkaufen? What else do we have? Wie oft lernst du Deutsch? Wie lange lernst du Deutsch? Everything that is like related to Tagesablauf. You can also invite some foods in here if you want to. Like, was frühstückst du? Was isst du zum Frühstück? Was isst du zum Mittagessen? Etc. Okay. Then we have Feste and Feiern, so parties. Welche Feste feiert man in deinem Land? It's a bit complicated. This is more like conversational. Welches ist dein Lieblingsfest? Wann ist der Nationalfeiertag von deinem Land? It's a bit complicated. Was bringt man zu einem Fest mit? Kommt man pünktlich zu deinem Fest, zu deinen Festen? Oder wann ist dein Geburtstag? Wo feierst du deinen Geburtstag? Etc. Okay. I'm saying okay a lot today, don't I? Verkehrsmittel? Hast du ein Auto? Wohin fährst du mit dem Auto? Hast du ein Fahrrad oder ein Motorrad? Fährst du mit dem Zug oder mit dem Bus? Bist du schon einmal mit dem Flugzeug geflogen? That might be a bit complicated. Wo ist der Bahnhof? And then the other person gets to say, da. And that's it. Okay. Don't make it overly complicated. Another one is clothes. Magst du rote Kleider? Wo sind die Hosen? Dort. Haben sie Größe 40? Ja. Wo kaufst du Kleider? Bei H&M. Like, online. Wo kaufst du Kleider? Online. Wie lange oder wie oft kaufst du Kleider ein? So it's not stuff like that. And then, so you don't have to describe a photo. That might be a B1 exercise, but it might be a good training for you to say like, ich sehe 3 Menschen, eine Frau und 2 Männer. Sie sind in der Küche. Ich denke, sie wohnen zusammen. Stuff like that. Then describe this photo. Ich sehe 2 Menschen, eine Frau und ein Mann. Ich sehe Kartons. Ich sehe eine Lampe. Ich sehe eine Pflanze. Vielleicht wohnen sie neu zusammen. Something like that. Keep it simple. It's just a good training just to like produce German. It's not necessary for the exam. And then one other topic that might come up for part 2 is sports. Machst du Sport? Wie lange machst du das schon? Wo machst du das? Was machst du, um fit zu bleiben? Was machst du für Sport? Welchen Sport möchtest du machen? That's more conversational, etc. Okay, good. That was part 2. Part 1 should take about 2 to 3 minutes. It should be very quick. Then part 2 should take about 5 minutes, more or less. It depends, like not more than 5 minutes, because you're supposed to ask one question, you get one answer, plus a new question, you answer that, and then it's your round, and you should take the second question. One answer, one question you answer, and then you're done. So it's 2 questions per person. That should not take longer than 5 minutes. And then we come to part 3 that looks like this. You have to haggle something out. Most often it's you have to find a time slot for the 2 of you. And I can tell you, you busy. You have no time to meet someone in addition here. Here is part your colleague. Your colleague is busy too. Neither of you have time. And it's not the goal for you to actually find a slot where you can work together or do something together. Here you are looking for a dictionary. Who uses a dictionary? That the goal is that you can produce in German. Hast du Zeit um? Ah nein, dann kann ich nicht. Hast du Zeit um? Ah nein, dann kann ich nicht. And I get that like this back and forth of like repeating times, basically. If you do find a time slot, then you have to continue talking because this is supposed to take about 5 minutes. So the whole exam is taking more or less 15 minutes. Yes, what you need for this is ordinal numbers, the time, maybe day times like mornings, afternoons, etc., and day of the week. Maybe this is also stuff you need for when you make an appointment in real life. As you can see, I've not filled this out yet, and that's what we're going to do today now. So let's start here. So ordinal times you need to say the date. So you need, for example, today is the 17th, 17. And then August. That's not very well organized. März, Januar, Februar, März, April, Mai, Juni, Juli, August. August. Tomorrow, morgen would be the 18. Am 18. August, let's say September. Der September. Der 19. Am 19. And then we have the same here. 12. 11. 13. 14. 15. 16. 16. Then we have 2 is 2. 4. 5. 6. 7. It's not 7, it's 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. So does anybody know? It's not einten. What is it? It's ersten. No, ich will nicht einten. No. Einten. So einten is wrong, and it's also not Einstein. That's not what I want. And then the same is not dreiten. 3. No, 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 no. It's dritten. Okay. And then 20. 20. And then if you would have to say 20, that's kind of tricky for us German people to say that. We don't like that. This 20. We don't like that. We produce 20. And then it goes on. 21. 22. Let's finish this. 23. 24. und 25. Okay. This is how you tell dates. Like, hast du am Freitag, dem 7. September where are we? I lost it there. 18:30 Uhr Zeit. So now we need time as well. So time, we have the digital way of saying it. This is pretty easy, and I prefer this one so much over the other one because I'm so getting confused so easily. So this is 8:15 Uhr. 8:30 Uhr. 8:45 Uhr. 12:05 Uhr. 12:25 Uhr. 12:35 Uhr. 12:55 Uhr. 16:10 Uhr. 16:20 Uhr. 16:40 Uhr. 16:50 Uhr. This is much, much easier. For the exam, you probably max should use, like, just use full-on hours and not the 15, etc. Or maybe 8:30 Uhr. I would avoid everything else. And then we have this other one, this other method of telling time. This one is Viertel nach 8. Makes kind of sense. And then here it gets confusing to me, at least, because this is not 7:30. It would make a lot of sense to me, but it's not. It's 8:30. It's half an hour till 9. 8:30. But we're not saying the bis. We're just saying 8:30. And this is Viertel vor 9. Kind of makes sense. 8:45. But then it gets really tricky in German because this one is 5:30. This one is 5:30. This just ugly. I don't know. I don't like it. This is 5:01. Oh, 1. 5:01. 10:04. 20:04. 20:05. 10:05. I don't recommend that. So I recommend for the exam, try to stick to hast du Zeit 8:30 Uhr, 6:30 Uhr. Or just 8, 6, whatever. It's so much easier. Don't make your life harder at the exam. Then we have der Morgen. Hast du Zeit am Morgen? Am Mittag? Am Abend? Dann haben wir in der Nacht. Then we have, do you know what is between Mittag und Abend? It's the afternoon. This is noon. What is after in German? Nachmittag. And then we have a little thing that nobody uses. It's before noon. So not before, aber am Vormittag. Most people don't use this. I only have come across, like, one of my Poland friends uses this and then she speaks German. I don't speak Polish, so always. She uses that, like, was machst du am Vormittag, am Mittwoch? Like, was Vormittag? I don't know. We usually, like, other German speakers probably use am Morgen. Was machst du am Morgen? Was machst du morgen? Was machst du morgen? It's a bit complicated. Was machst du am Mittwochmorgen? That would be more reasonable. Was machst du am Freitagnachmittag? Hast du Zeit? Am Donnerstagmittag. Something like that. And then I already hinted at that. So we have Donnerstag. So if today is Donnerstag, heute, was ist morgen? Morgen ist Freitag. Und übermorgen ist Samstag. And then the day after that ist Sonntag. Und heute ist Donnerstag. Was war dann gestern? Gestern war Mittwoch. Und vorgestern? Gestern. Vorgestern war Dienstag. Und the day before is Montag. So Montag, Dienstag, Mittwoch, Donnerstag, Freitag, Samstag, Sonntag. What do we call Samstag und Sonntag? The weekend ist das Wochenende. And then how do we call a working day? So what is the German word for work? Arbeit. And for day, Tag. So it's ein Arbeitstag. Arbeitstag. Or an older word would be Werktag. You can say work, Werk. It's like there you can see that like German and English is like somewhat related. You might see this when you're ordering something and they say, oh, we deliver in 2 bis 3 Switzerland. 3 bis 5 Arbeitstagen. So they're not counting the weekend. So if you order something on Friday and they say they deliver it in 3 to 5 working days, that means, so not Saturday, Sunday, Montag, Dienstag, Mittwoch. So it might come between Mittwoch, Donnerstag und Freitag. Next week. Nächste Woche. Okay? Sehr gut. Okay, we're almost done here. And then we have like the month. So now we're in August. What was last month? It was der Juli. So wir haben Juli, August, September, Oktober, November, and December. And then the new year, Januar, Februar, März, April, Mai, Juni. Those are the months. Pretty simple, very straightforward. Then in August, we are in summer. What follows summer? Frühling. No, Herbst. Der Herbst. What follows Herbst? Der Winter. And what follows winter? Der Frühling. Okay, that's everything. You might not need those, but like for real life, when you're trying to make an appointment, you need the ordinal numbers and you need the month, you need the day, and then you need the time. Coming back to the Telc, what they want to see, you usually get like the day is already given and the month as well, like the date as well. So you don't per se have to repeat that because you probably both have the same, but you do need time. And as you can see, there is like full, like in between here is a bit weird. Like it's that till 11 and then 11 to 12. Yeah. And then 11 to 12, you're waiting for a packet. So you can use, there's never half hours. You never have to use 11:30 oder maybe here 2:30. Maybe you have here like 15 minutes or 30 minutes here. The other one, this is full on hours. Here 12:30. Here you have to use that. Yeah. You can avoid that. You can say instead of 8:15 Uhr, you can just say 8 Uhr am Abend. Something like that, if that helps. Other than that, you can just hardcore ignore. They're not going to correct you. They're not going to correct if you're saying 8 Uhr am Abend instead of 8:15 Uhr am Abend. What you do want to know or what you do want to use is Kannst du 11 Uhr? Nein, da kann ich nicht. Da muss ich auf ein Paket warten. Or kannst du am Samstag, so days and dates get time geht's um 16 Uhr. Nein, da kann ich nicht. Kannst du am Sonntag um 15 Uhr oder hast du am Sonntag um 15 Uhr Zeit? And then you can either say, ja, da kann ich. And then you have to continue, like coming back to the exam. In the exam, if you are lying, like let's say you're done with the back and forth of like, kannst du Nein, dann kann ich nicht. Kannst du Nein, dann kann ich. Like if you're getting tired of that, you can just lie. Say like, yeah, yeah. Like even though the exam says that you're like busy, you can lie and say, ja, da kann ich. But then you have to continue the conversation if your 5 minutes haven't been up yet. So then you want to go into, wo treffen wir uns? Wer bezahlt? Because originally you're looking for a dictionary. Wer bezahlt? Danach möchte ich einen Kaffee trinken. Something like that. You just have to continue the conversation. And I recommend that you do something that feels natural. Because it's just a different kind of that you need to prep. Also, if you're getting tired, instead of straight up lying, you can get very creative and you can say things like, nein, da kann ich nicht. Da muss ich auf ein Paket warten. Aber das kann mein Mann, meine Frau machen. Da kann ich. Wo treffen wir uns? And then you get again into this problem that you have to continue the conversation somehow. But like, if you're super creative, go ahead. There's another one, I have an example. Da kann ich nicht. Ich esse Mittagessen mit meinem Sportverein. Aber ich kann früher gehen. Dann geht es. Wo treffen wir uns? Something like that. And that's part 3. And then they're going to say thank you. And then I let you go. It takes you about 6 months till you get your feedback. You only need 60%. Is that right? Yes. You only need 60% of the points to pass. So you have plenty of wiggle room to make mistakes, even though grammar does not count. So you really have to make severe mistakes for you not to get full points. The other thing is the people that grade you probably are not going to give you feedback in the exam. They should not say, gut, sehr gut. My trick was always to say, danke sehr, danke schön. Yet, das ist Teil 2, das ist Teil 3. They're not going to say, gut, sehr gut, okay, jetzt Teil 3. They should not give you feedback because they're not supposed to. You're not supposed to get hints if you've done well or unwell, because they don't want to make either of you nervous if I, by accident, once say, oh, gut, danke schön, and once to the other one I say, sehr gut, danke schön, like that would just make you nervous, and that's why they're not giving you any feedback in gut or sehr gut or wunderbar or something like that. That does not mean that you didn't do well. It just means like they're not supposed to give you feedback. Okay, that's the exam. And so please let me know if you want me to go through like, reading, writing, how to write a letter, how to successfully write a letter, and how that gets graded so you can succeed in your Telc exam. That was my video for the oral exam, Telc A2. And please let me know if you want to have an A1 or a B1. Like B1 exists already quite well. So if you just type in Telc B1, you probably find a lot of people talking about this. If you want me to talk about it, let me know. Yeah, that's from me. See you soon. Bye.